Hello, Jared. How you doing?
All right, we'll get out of
All right,
here.
good.
Get
Get
out
out
of
of here.
here.
See you later.
Howdy.
Hey, how you doing, man?
In spite of the news, I think I'm doing okay. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news lately. It's not good out there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do keep up pretty heavily with the news.
I guess it would be in your field. Yeah, please introduce yourself to the fine people here who are unfamiliar with your ongoing effort to turn Ohio into a civilized first world state.
My name is Jared Christian. I'm running for U.S. Congress for Ohio's 12th district.
Thank you for introducing yourself. Yeah, you ran in 2024 as well. Like this is like a rematch shot for you, right? It's like a Rocky 2 deal. You're coming back to fight for the title.
Yeah, that's a good one because he won in part two.
He did, famously. Though I would argue the first movie is better. So I mean, we're not trying to win to establish the artistic credibility of your race as narrativized. We actually do want to win in Ohio 12. How has that been going, the race?
The only descriptor that I can accurately use is busy. As a non-millionaire, I work full time. I have a family, and every waking moment not spent on those two things is out of my house, somewhere doing a thing.
Yeah, I imagine you have your work cut out for you as well in Ohio 12. I'm sure you're familiar because it's kind of hard to miss, but people online have taken to invoking Ohio in all kinds of wacky ways, like only in Ohio. You're familiar, I assume, with the broader reputation your state has?
I am very familiar. Yes. So Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel this reputation is earned? Like you're fighting uphill in Ohio 12. Tell me about Ohio from an Ohioan's perspective?
I mean, I can't speak for all of Ohio, but the regions I've lived in throughout my life, they're largely really community oriented, which is a surprise when you think about the people that have been running it. The smaller regions are filled with good people. We have been gerrymandered to death. We've been run by Republicans for about 30 years at least, with a supermajority over the last 15. But we are, in fact, I think the last election was like 45-55.
Mm-hmm.
But we are not represented in a meaningful way on the global stage.
No, you really aren't. I mean, I remember, and it's certainly not thought of this way now, but I think I remember people treating Ohio like a purple state back when I was younger. But Republicans have so ruthlessly gerrymandered it, like with Texas, right? Like for a while, Texas was just a kind of borderline 50-50. I mean, it was like on the cusp of being a purple state. It was really close. And now under Abbott, of course, the whole state has been sort of run into the red side via gerrymandering.
Well, in Ohio, elected Obama both times.
So. Yeah, it's recent. It wasn't that far off. 2012. There was, I don't know. I mean, 2 or 3 years ago, it must have been. At this point, what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think changed? Like, how could Obama win there twice, but now this is like Trump sweeps?
Realistically, I would say it's probably because of the national climate. People are angry. People feel like they haven't had a voice in our government for a very long time. And I think that when sorry, I got distracted by the chat.
No worries. Many such cases happens to me all the time, happening to me right now.
Sure. I think that, when it comes to Trump, I think that he reflects people's anger back at them. Right. And I think that he holds up in the best way, a mirror toward the way people feel. His presidency is a product of how our government has been failing us for generations now. Mm-hmm. And I think that Ohio just kind of fell into that. I think that most people are still good. They just, they see the world in a specific way. They see somebody else that's angry like they're angry, and they're like, yeah, I want to be on that team. Maybe he'll fix something. So
it does feel to me like Obama was the last time a Democratic candidate has successfully convinced the country that they were standing for meaningful change in the country. Yeah. I know a lot of it ended up being ephemeral under Obama, but I do remember, and I'm young. I mean, I'm 32, so I was old enough to remember like the energy when Obama was elected, certainly the first time, to a lesser extent the second time, but people really did think that we were on the cusp of some kind of transformational change, right? A real move away from the Bush era, the Iraq and Afghanistan war, a 2008 financial crisis, right? And all the banking deregulation that led up to it. Not much has really changed since then. I mean, it's been, nearly 20 years since Obama first won. It kind of feels like we're in the same or worse country.
I absolutely agree with that. I think that one of the biggest problems, one of the largest causes of that, is you can change the president, right? But he gets a lot more credit than they deserve for being able to form national policy. They may be able to sway the markets with a tweet nowadays, but the fact is that U.S. Congress is responsible for the legislation that creates universal health care if they wanted it. They're responsible for the things that, bring manufacturing back to the US if they wanted it. And they're just not taking that responsibility seriously because they're just falling in line behind whatever donor or oligarch tells them what to think or what to say or what to do. And right now, with the populist president in office, they're falling in line behind that bullshit.
It does
need meaningful change at a congressional level.
It does feel like the president has incredible leeway when it comes to manipulating financial markets, and absolutely none whatsoever when it comes to manipulating like the kitchen table economics that people have to deal with in their day to day. Like he can, you can sway trillions in investment overnight, essentially, with a Truth Social post, but you can't do a goddamn thing to make groceries cheaper. It's remarkable how little power they have where it counts.
Well, and it's remarkable how little they use the power they do have to do something meaningful for people. Breaking up monopolies, for instance. I mean, they do have control over large swaths of the secretaries of whatever, and they could say, hey, we need you to go in and investigate agricultural markets for monopolies. We need you to go in and change that, break it apart so that farmers can make a profit and that groceries get cheaper. But they don't.
No, they don't really seem to do anything anymore, do they? You think you'd be able to do something you got into Congress?
Well, you know what? I'd sure shit try. And it's going to take a hell of a lot of work because there are 434 other people in there that I would have to argue with on a regular basis. We would have to, the biggest worry for me, generally speaking, when Democrats take back the House and the Senate and even the presidency, is that they're going to get in there and do fuck all to make things better. And then they're going to lose again. And we're just going to repeat this cycle for the rest of my life until my dying breath. And we're going to have made no meaningful change. And that is not who I am as a person. And I'm not going to just sit back and let that shit happen.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of feel like people are really running out on their last breaths, especially Democratic voters, when it comes to their hope that things are actually going to get better. Like Obama represented at least the promise of transformational change, which I think a lot of people would consider an unmet promise or an unfulfilled promise. And now, obviously, Republicans are having their moment with Trump. And is Trump changing things? Yes, obviously for the worse. But even then, like like you say with Congress, right? Trump can govern from his Truth Social account and he can sign a bunch of executive orders, but the underlying structure of the country is ultimately a legislative structure, and it's mostly, I mean, what does Congress do? They sign they re-up the budget every year, and I guess we pitch weapons to Israel. That seems to be the only thing Congress is capable of doing these days.
They actually do spend a lot of time changing the names of post offices.
That's true. We should give them more credit for the work they've done.
That's true.
Why do you think your would-be colleagues, you get into Congress, right? You work with the Democrats. Why do you think they've sort of abandoned their legislative responsibilities so much? I mean, what's keeping them from putting more work in?
I would put forward the idea that perhaps they're bought, that maybe they need to get off that billionaire teat and start caring about their neighbors more than they care about their own bank accounts.
Do you think so? I mean, I agree with you. It's just like, it feels like an easy criticism to make from the outside. I think that everyone, when they're running, it's like, well, I'm going to be different. And then you get in there and it's like, okay, it's not that they're being given briefcase full of cash in a smoky room or anything like that. It's that there's this million little pressures, every business and lobbyist and consultant, and all the wisdom you get when you go in there, right? Well, you're day one to the job, we'll got to show you how things work. And slowly but surely, every principled position that you have just gets ground away. You know what I mean?
I do. And I think that on top of that, as an issue, it's an issue of access. Most people in Congress, they don't talk to their constituents on a regular basis.
Mhm.
And the people that have access to them, they say, oh, everything's working out. This way would make it better. This way would make it better. This way would make it better. And ultimately, the answer becomes, well, I've only heard that this is the position that works. I don't hear from the people on the ground anymore. So that access doesn't necessarily corrupt them, but it makes them unable to picture themselves back in the life that they once knew, that the people on the ground are experiencing all the time.
Yeah, it's the feeling I get, like they've kind of given up on even trying to look human. You know what I mean, human, right? I look at your Twitter feed, you're meeting people, you're talking to people. You swear, which I like because people swear, you know? I think that there's a moral sort of virtue in there being a cultural synchronicity between politicians and the people they represent. I consider that to be part of it, right? You know, but and then I take a look at your opponent, Troy Balderson, and it's like there's like nothing here. Like there's no real social media presence. You're meeting some corpos, you see people in suits, and you look at this and it's depressing because they get voted in, right? But like,
yeah,
I don't think they're not really like communicating an interest in coming across like an ordinary person anymore. It's like once you're in there, you can give up. You can just kick your feet up on the table, you know?
That's absolutely right. And I think that a lot of them have given up. And I'll be honest, I think that one of the biggest problems that we have is the inefficiencies in our system itself. Our system has been broken forever. And it takes arguing with 99 other people in the Senate or 434 other people in the House to try to get across any sort of meaningful legislation. And all of these competing ideas and ideals are at your feet while you're working toward a goal that betters the lives of the people of this country.
No, 100%. You know, there are people who have been in Congress for a long time that I think still have that fire in them. The classic example is Bernie Sanders, right? I love Bernie. And he's always come across like a really human guy, really personable, you know, clearly talks to a lot of working class people in the day to day. Like you never get the impression he just spends all of his free time out there in consultancy meetings or whatever, talking to lobbyists. Yeah. I mean, he's likable. He's very likable. He's one of the most popular politicians in the country, even though he's, you know, like 100 years old.
Yeah.
No, I completely get that. So tell me, all right, as a native Ohioan, right, as a resident of your proud state, what do you think your top priority is? You know, you get into office, say you win. What do you do? What helps the most?
Money out of politics, ending the ability of billionaires to buy our elected officials through donations to their campaign and otherwise. I think that that's probably the most meaningful movement we can have. Right.
Why? Because that would make re-election easier? You advocating for your own self-interest there?
No, I think that right now, with the access that money gives people to advertisements and things like that, the regular folks out in the world, like you and me, we don't have like necessarily time to look into a candidate. So the people that we see the most on the TV are the ones that we might walk in there and vote for. The spread of misinformation and disinformation has been incredibly detrimental to the people of this country, to the world. And certainly it's not because it will help me get reelected. I never imagined that I would be in a position running for U.S. Congress. I'm a software engineer now by trade, and I am perfectly happy just sitting in an office looking at a screen. But that is not the world I inherited, so it's not what I have to do.
It does kind of feel like a world without corporate interference in politics would be a world where Troy Balderson couldn't win.
That's true.
You know, the Ohio 12th, like we're talking about, you know, past the point they just give up on trying to appear human, right? It's name recognition. I feel like this didn't used to be so much of a problem. Obviously, Citizens United exacerbated the problem considerably, but I feel like there was a much greater emphasis on like the politics of adjacency, of community involvement. You go back 50 or 60 or 70 years or whatever, and you know, you see. It's just one of my, I guess, like a little tidbit of history I've noticed. There were a lot of like local charismatic campaigners, like city councilmen, sometimes mayors, you know, people, they look at Mamdani now and he's exceptional, right, in the context of contemporary politics. But I feel like a lot of people running for office used to be like that. They show up at events. They're members of the community. They're out there. They're walking the street. You see them because back in those days, you couldn't just rely on $50 billion in TV ads selling your face to everyone in your district, you know?
That's exactly right. And I would add to that fireside chats and how far things have gone since then. Yeah.
No, no, but what absolutely. And I mean now it's crazy because it's not even high effort, right? It's literally just you talking to a mic for 5 minutes. But even this, because we know that if we got like 5 minutes of unfiltered top-down chat from the average member of Congress, you know, they would sound like a psychopath. I'm reminded of this. I don't know if I don't know if you saw this. I don't remember who did it. It was a Republican congressman who was asked a question, I think, about affordability, and his answer was like, affordability? Oh, who gives a fuck about that? I'm gonna go out in the lake with my yacht and grill some insane,
Yeah.
like unbelievable. It'd be disqualifying in any other era. But I feel like you can't even get the fireside chats because like the average politician is a guy like that. They're contemptuous. They couldn't keep it up for 5 minutes, you know?
That's exactly right. And here in Ohio, we have an appointed senator who took the place of JD Vance after he became vice president. I'm sorry, guys. It's not all of Ohio's fault.
Well,
But John Husted, he was on purpose in front of everybody at a microphone said that people who don't have enough money to survive don't understand how to navigate the real world, and they should just make more money. What the
yes,
fuck is that?
I remember that. You could never say this in any social situation. Like this,
Yeah.
in real life to real people, this is like an instant everyone despises you. But in politics, like
Yeah.
because they aren't talking about themselves or their friends. They're talking
Yeah.
about the little people. They're so unused to talking to the little people, they forget they're supposed to code switch when they're in front of a camera.
Yeah, and I think that it all kind of comes back to the ideas that Reagan put in everybody's head of the welfare queen. He's not talking about you, the regular person who's working and can't make it. He's talking about these people over there bumming off the system, making it so your life is harder. And we've created this imaginary monster, this other sitting over here to the side that is making your life harder because they don't know how to navigate the world.
People are so good at making that anyone other than themselves. You can have like a
Yeah.
Republican voter living on welfare, living on disability, relies on the system. They see a politician say, if you rely on this, you're a bum. And the Republican voter will be like, well, obviously I'm an exception, but somewhere there's a Somali who's really ruining it for everyone, you know?
You are absolutely not wrong.
It's crazy. It's like it's shameless. But I think it's like a self-defense mechanism for a lot of these people, temporarily embarrassed millionaires, right? No one wants to think of themselves as the guy it's like how Ayn Rand was on welfare for a while, right? Everyone has an exception for themselves. No, yeah, she was. She wrote
That's
during it.
amazing.
Everyone has an exception for themselves. When they're speeding through traffic, it's because they have to use the restroom really bad. If somebody else is speeding through traffic, it's because they're a speed demon, right? We make caveats for ourselves, and everyone else is the problem. So we lose the ability to recognize class antagonism directed at us. We're not the guy. Someone else is the guy. I'm just an innocent here.
Yeah, and if I kiss enough ass, maybe one day I too will be a billionaire.
And then I get to regurgitate the same positions to people who were in exactly my situation. Hey, I want to ask, by the way, because again, local issue. How do you feel Vivek's going? There's a lot of drama on the governor's race over there. Really interesting stuff from the outside.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the outside of that campaign as well. I mean, I've spent some time with Amy, and I think she's a great person. As a person and as a candidate, I think she's doing a great job. But I think I'm really sad that Vivek is our option on the Republican side right now. I mean, I can't imagine a less charismatic person running, so that does help. He says the dumbest shit. He's like right up there with John Husted on the "you're just jealous of me because I'm rich" nonsense. He literally said that.
Yeah, he got wealthy by lying to investors too. He took over a pharma company, did nothing, said it was going to be better, and then left before everyone. Yeah, I mean, it's the only way to make money these days, right? It's pretty much that. Getting lucky on crypto, I guess. That's your entry point. That's the ladder they kick down to us.
Yeah.
For generational wealth.
Well, and if you are president and you can make your own crypto, then you're in. But the regular person, the ability to make wealth on crypto is pretty much over. I think it's kind of had its time.
Yeah, it was NFTs and crypto, and now we're on. I think that the president is selling access to his Truth Social a few milliseconds ahead of everyone else, so that if
Yeah.
you are using automatic stockbrokers to make trades based on the president's recommendations, you can do it before the market catches up.
Yep.
That's the new generational wealth. Then we used to build things in this country. Now we have this.
Well, in his defense, they had to build the API.
True, and it
So-
probably cost a lot too. It probably
somebody made a lot of
very
money off that.
expensive. That's straight taxpayer dollars too. I mean, whatever you and I paid, us and a million neighbors, that for 10 years together, that built the API for Truth Socials.
They probably came from the Freedom 250 fund.
Yeah, what was that? It was like 2 billion initially, just straight
It
out of
was
the
insane.
coffers of the Treasury Department. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. There's just so much. It's not even funny, right? It's like actually the country's dying. It's pretty depressing, actually.
We can do better.
I think we can. Yeah. I think that, like, you know, especially infrastructurally, you look back, it's kind of difficult to like, because GDP is an abstract measurement. How much wealthier are we
Of
really
course.
than 100 years ago? You see it in buildings and bridges. It used to be like, with less money, fewer resources, and worse technology, we built across the continent. I mean, we did some bad things too, but at least we built. And now it feels like nothing can get done. And it's like, damn, is this really how it ends? Like, we just lose the ability to build bridges? That's like a casualty on the, you know, like civilizational decline chart?
I think somebody once said, not with a bang, but with a whimper. I would like to avoid that too, though.
Yeah, that'd be nice. What's that? You know, most Roman citizens didn't even realize the empire had fallen. They just stopped having people show up to repair the bridges that broke one day.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough doomsaying for me. Sorry, I was covering the news cycle lately has made it a little bit difficult to avoid that. I actually am interested in the specifics of your race because I feel like we've been talking about general national decline stuff. I want to know about the conversations you have. You know, I am and always have been a snobbish, insufferable coastal elite. I'm not really familiar with the on-the-ground political workings in Ohio 12. What kind of conversations are you having with your constituents or would-be constituents down there, you know?
I think right now, one of the biggest conversations that we have is energy costs and data centers.
Really? I know that Ohio's been really the one thing we build now, right? Really developing that field out. What are people concerned about? Like, how do these conversations manifest?
It is probably the biggest bipartisan issue across the state right now. Everybody hates them. They are building them very close to people's homes. They're destroying the foundations of their houses by the construction work. They can hear the noise from them constantly. People are worried about their water and their air quality, the diesel generators running, the fact that our power bills have jumped by like 60% or more based on the infrastructure required to run them.
Mm-hmm.
And, all we have are some vague promises that it's going to get better. And, Troy, my opponent, is actually on the Energy Committee, but they don't do shit for us. They've been discussing bringing in miniature nuclear power plants to build next to them so that they can power themselves. Well, I mean, it depends on, do you want a nuclear power plant 500 to 1,000 feet from your house?
Absolutely, but I understand the average voter probably wouldn't. But I recognize this might be like a personal interest thing. I think it's doubly depressing too with the data centers because nothing else gets built, right? Like we see vital, like everything from potholes to like water, water filtration plants, stuff get neglected for decades, and then overnight these colossal data centers go up. Like no one likes them, nobody approves of them. They're objectively useless or worse. Drain the power. Right, make the bill go up for everyone else, and still somehow they just materialize. You know.
Well, the power and the aquifers, like people, these things are being built out in farm country too, and the underground water access is going to start to be limited because the amount of resources that these things use are going to make it difficult, if not impossible, for farmers to water their fucking fields. And people's water pressure in their wells is dropping drastically around these things. There's some real, like, immediate consequences from these data centers going into people's backyards.
Not to mention, like, oftentimes the reason they're being planted where they are is so that they can leech off of existing infrastructure. They don't want to be too far away from where people have already settled because it would take longer to build the electrical lines out, the water, and so on. But, like, in doing this, they are saving perhaps months of time and infuriating everyone in the process. Like they're so unconcerned with public opinion that they'll just dump it anywhere rather than engage in a little bit of like social engineering and prescience and maybe build it out a little bit where people are less likely to complain about it. It just comes across as really arrogant, you know, like they know nobody can stop them.
I absolutely agree that that's probably the sentiment that they have. And I think that the way that they are working right now is they're trying to build so quickly that it's just too late to stop them. By the time you find out that one's going in, it's already a done deal. The township trustees and things like that are signing NDAs, so they don't have to discuss it with the general public in any way, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, it should be illegal. Like, genuinely, I do not understand how that's legal. That's absolutely insane. It's getting framed as like a national security issue too, right? Like we have to compete with China on AI. Therefore, don't worry, citizen, like the 50 AI data centers that are being built adjacent to your property are actually vital for national defense.
Sure. And on top of it, the Ohio EPA has discussed openly dropping our water quality standards so that we can build our economy.
Yeah. Are people fans of that one too?
No, not generally.
Okay, so so like this, you've had conversations with Republican voters who are concerned about this?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what I find, generally speaking, is that most people kind of hold the same values. Whether they consider themselves Republican or Democrat or progressive or you name a thing, unless they are just completely gone, they support feeding hungry children. They support people getting health care. Universal health care is very, very highly supported throughout the entire nation, as I'm sure you're aware. And I think that realistically, it's just a tribalism issue more than an issues issue.
No, I agree. It is very frustrating that if you take a look at the policies people support, absent their association, like if Trump proposed Medicare for all, never would, but if he did, Republicans would like it. It's not really a policy issue. You look at referendums, and Republicans all across the country, they'll defend abortion rights, they'll defend higher minimum wage, they'll defend better medical care, welfare subsidies. They'll defend like everything. It really is just a framing issue, right? If it's delivered to them in a conservative framework, if it comes wrapped in a flag, they're here for it. And if it's woke or liberal or whatever, they oppose it reflexively.
Yes, that's an accurate assessment.
I mean, not to shit talk the decision making capabilities of people who have voted Trump in twice too much. But it does feel like, their actual self-interest is pretty well detached from what they're voting for here. You know, like Republican candidates are so open with this. They go to a town hall, they get asked like 2 questions, they respond contemptuously, then they dip. That's why they don't even do town halls anymore, right? Like they've given up on it. Since Trump 2 started, basically all the Republican Congress people have just stopped doing events, you know? Why bother answering questions?
That's exactly right. They're in a position of power, especially in the gerrymandered districts like Ohio has. You don't have to be responsive to anyone. And I have said many times throughout the couple of years I've been doing this that gerrymandering serves no one. It's not good for anyone on any side because it leads to people far too comfortable with power or far too comfortable without it. Either way, they are useless to the people, period.
No, I 100% agree. And it cuts down on debate. I mean, nobody even feels the need to debate if you're running in like a plus 20, 25 district. Why give the time? Do you speaking of, actually, I didn't look it up beforehand. Do you have a debate scheduled, or are you just like he won't even do one?
No, he doesn't even acknowledge my existence, and I am super unkind to him. He doesn't care. He is very comfortable with power. He's very comfortable as a yes man. Is the answer to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's unfortunately it's gotten so common. I mean, people are dipping out. Trump dipped out of debates with Kamala Harris, right? I mean, that was a pretty close to the run. Nobody really wants to do politics anymore. You just want a constituency that's guaranteed to reelect you so you can stop pretending to support their interests. It feels like that's a problem on both sides. I know that Democrats in like their primaries in many cases are kind of contemptuous of internal discourse as well. 20-term incumbents just get comfortable.
Yes, and they shouldn't be. Once you lose that drive to help people, you should just go home.
No, I've always felt like being a politician, you should be suffering. Your life should be awful and stressful. And and you want to get it done, whatever it is you're trying to get done, you try to get it done as quickly as possible, then pass the hot potato to somebody else. Like, you're a public servant. It should at the very least be stressful. Like, being a parent is supposed to be stressful. If you're a parent to a newly born kid and your life isn't at least a little bit stressful, at some point you have to call into question, like, how much you're actually doing for the kid, you know? I mean, is someone else doing the work for you?
Yeah. You know what? Good parents worry about being good parents.
Yeah, they don't sit in their laurels.
Yeah. And I think about that sometimes. It's incredibly stressful just being a candidate for Congress. And I'm like, I have no actual responsibility to people, but if you don't wake up every morning wondering how you can make people's lives better, what the fuck are you even doing here?
I think it's certainly more stressful than it is for you than it is for Troy Balderson, I'd say, because it seems like once you're in there and once you're resting on a comfortable margin, you can just stop pretending to care. You just show up for your special interest events. You talk to the lobbyists, and for the most part, your narrative gets dictated by the president. You don't really have to have any positions.
You post how great the parade you were just in is. Oh, it was great to be in XY Township today in this parade.
Yippee! Yeah.
I ride by and never talk to a person.
No, it's really depressing. It kind of feels like a microcosm of the whole. I mean, I vote Democrat. You know, I as a Democrat, I'm mostly concerned with the outcome of this undemocratic behavior in areas that vote for Republicans. But it's really just as much of an issue in Democratic districts as well. That disconnect with the people. I mean, you see it, especially. I grew up in California, in Silicon Valley. Around Los Angeles. I just saw an interview with Adam Smith. He's Washington 9. He's been a 16-term incumbent, right? Been in for a while. Just totally disconnected from the will of his constituency. He's like a moderate. He makes fun of progressives for wanting open borders, Republican talking points. He represents Seattle. Do you know how woke Seattle is?
Yeah, that's a crazy thing to do.
That's insane. Yeah. But he's been there forever. He's been there for 16. Actually, he's been there for as long as I've been alive, like pretty much down to the year. That's crazy. Seattle. They should be posting every congressional district that is even adjacent to Seattle should be putting out DSA members, pitching them into Congress. But instead, somebody gets comfortable and then they're basically just there forever.
Well, and as long as they're a solid fundraising mechanism for the powers that be, they'll continue to hold that seat regardless of whether or not they've earned it.
Yep, MIC for him. Boeing, Raytheon, Palantir, right? The hits, You're not being funded by Palantir, right? I'm just checking. I didn't look up beforehand.
No. No.
Boeing, Lockheed.
Nope, none of the above. I have taken no corporate PAC money whatsoever.
All right, just making sure. I'm just making sure you're not pulling a fast one on me.
Nope. The only PAC money I've actually gotten is from Free Thought Equality, which supports separation of church and state, and a union PAC.
Okay, I'd say that if you're going to get money from a PAC, a union PAC's probably reasonable. Center for Free Thought Equality. I haven't heard of that. Is that more of a local thing, or is that a national org?
It's national.
Okay. I just haven't heard of it before. I say Center for Free Thought Equality. Yeah, I agree with the separation of church and state. I'd say that's a prior of mine. Okay, I have been talking my damn head off here. I hope that I haven't detracted from your ability to advocate for your your righteous ascension to the House seat from Ohio 12. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me.
I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
Seriously, good luck. The people of Ohio need it, I think, more than a lot of other states too. So I'm really, really hoping for a good outcome here. It's going to be a blue tide these midterms. I'm hoping that the Democratic constituency is pretty upset with the party right now. I really hope that the past couple of years have reminded Republicans that they're also still looking for good representation. They really can't settle on what they have right now. I disagree with a lot of their priors, but I agree with what you've said, that fundamentally, basically everyone wants good things and dislikes bad things. People want better healthcare, better availability of resources, better schools, better infrastructure. It's really just culture war wrappings on how those things get delivered. And nothing's getting delivered right now. I want people to keep hoping there's a better option around the corner, Yeah,
that kind of goes back to my concern that if and when Democrats take back all of these seats, that they're just going to sit back and be like, told you so. Now we have to do nothing again and repeat this cycle over and over and over again.
I don't think we can keep it repeating that much longer. I'm going to be honest with you. People are just going to stop voting. No one's going
Well,
to care.
I mean, silence supports the oppressor, right? We can't just sit back and do nothing. And it takes more than voting. Voting is an easy out. You're like, well, I showed up, I did my part, but there was a shit ton of work to do. And there are people out there who are really like, there's the same four people every time you go to something, same four people doing all the work, all of it on their shoulders. And everybody else just sits back and they complain about the parties, be they Democratic or Republican. There are shit tons of problems on everybody's side because parties suck in general. But we can't have a nation where participation is 0.01% and expect shit to go off without a hitch. We need more people paying more attention. We need volunteers. We need people to recognize that their voice matters and they have agency and they can do more than they're doing right now.
No, I completely agree. I remember back in when I went to college, I was a small college town, Northern California. We would occasionally, the students, I mean, would show up to like town halls, speeches being given by the police commissioner, stuff like that, you know. And there were always like, yeah, like you said, the same four people there. Older women active, mostly for homelessness rights, like there, you know, because there was a large homeless community in that town, and they were like far and away the most politically effective people in the entire town. No one else even came close. They weren't even particularly partisan. They weren't like hardline Democrats or anything like that. They were mostly just single issue political activists who understood that if you show up enough times, you're going to have an enormously outsized effect. If we could summon even a tenth of that energy, I swear to God, this country would be a utopia in like 10 years.
I absolutely agree with you, but we need to give people back that feeling that they do have agency and that they can make a difference. It's easy to sit at home, watch the world fall apart and do nothing. In fact, it's what most people do. We need to move the citizens of this nation away from that and back to the knowledge that the government is supposed to be of the people, by the people, and for the people, not some separate entity that gets to swallow them whole, that gets to dictate their lives to them. And instead, we should have control. We should have the power.
Absolutely. It's like a long-standing consequence of the Republican reframing of the government as a separate entity rather than a manifestation of the will of the people who vote in the elected representatives, you know? Like it's the idea, like you should always be supportive of government implementing solutions to problems you have because you're the reason those solutions are even being implemented. Like it's your will manifested. You get me. I'll be doing what I can. I'll be moving to Ohio 12 to vote for you in the coming election.
I appreciate that, man. I'll see you in a few minutes.
See you in a few minutes. Have a good. I'm on my way now. Goodbye. Have a good day.
But before we go, I want to wish Progressive Victory a happy birthday.
Yes, 4 years today. That's true. Oh man, that's crazy. 4 years since they formed. I nearly forgot. Yep. And I suppose, since this is your second time running, it'd be coming up on 4 years of you trying to take back Ohio 12 too. So, you know, shared fates.
That's right.
Thank you for coming on. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks for having me, man. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that was fun. Candidate interviews have been nice and uplifting. Thanks a lot. I've always said that as bad as politics is right now, the average so I shouldn't say the average person because he's not the average person. He's running in Ohio 12. But like there are lots and lots and lots of good people running for democratic governance, right? Like the people that are in right now might not be good, but there are lots of good people running. If you're a good person and you want to make the country a better place, you run as a Democrat. Like what else are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? Run as a Republican or an independent and guarantee a loss? No. It's like the only thing you can do in a lot of cases. So that's where you want to go to find the good people. Don't even, Benjamin. Don't even. You don't even know. You don't even know. All right, everyone. That was good. Go vote. If you're in Ohio 12, for one, God be with you. I'm sorry. But for two, go vote for you're a Christian. Vote for Mr. Christian, you know? Didn't even get to make any Christian jokes. That wouldn't have been funny anyway.